and the whole thing just started splitting, and it was sort of like oozing fluid and got pretty nasty.
One thing I wanted to ask you is obviously you broke your arm in that fight with Gilbert, and to beat anybody, let alone a world-class fighter like Gilbert with one arm, is an incredible thing to do. And obviously the aftermath of the broken arm is what's kept you on the sidelines for so long. Can you detail how bad it actually got? Because some of the photos that we saw, like the infection looked pretty gnarly, and some of those that I've seen in the past can actually lead, if not treated, to amputation. So, like, how bad
Yeah,
was it?
I mean, it got pretty bad. The infection had the broken arm, went back, had surgery, and then yeah, 10 days later, just the whole wound, just the like, it's a pretty big scar, and the whole thing just started splitting, and it was sort of like oozing fluid and got pretty nasty. And went back to the surgeon, and he just looked at it straight away and said, "Oh yeah, this looks like an infection." And yeah, it got nasty. The infection somehow got all the way to the bone. It was just one of those things. I think it was just unlucky. It's one of those risks you take with surgeries, and I was unlucky enough to get the full brunt of like the that sort of situation. But yeah, then it was just trying to fight the infection. Just this it was hard to get rid of the infection. It was a lot of antibiotics and a few surgeries to sort of get rid of the infected bone, but we got through it in the end. So
So, sorry to interrupt. What was your mental state of mind there? Because I'm dealing with like just a niggling back injury from being like a 36-year-old man. So I can't
yeah, yeah,
imagine what it would have been like for you at the peak of your physical powers, dealing with something that could potentially take your career away from you.
yeah. It was hard. It had ups and downs. It was quite a coming off such a big win and then having the injury, which was no big deal. Like I've had injuries before, but then getting the news that it was infected, I was like, wow, that's interesting. So that was another down, and then just like not being able to knock the infection, and it was pretty devastating. Especially I was eager to get back in there. I had plans of competing a lot last year, but yeah, I've just rolled with it. I did. Yeah, it was a bit of yeah. I just had to stay strong. I was lucky enough. I had some distractions. I had my daughter, my second child was born, so a bit of distraction here, and but I just stayed calm. I thought if it's meant to be, it will be, and I'll be back in there. And yeah,
Well,
I'm glad
congratulations.
everything did work out.
What did you make of his performance overall?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough performance. Bilal was very good. He doesn't get the props he deserves. He's a good fighter, and he comes in always with good game plan, and he's a good, well-rounded fighter. It was a tough fight. I think Bilal just went in there, and I think he had I think he just had the right game plan to stifle Leon's advantages. So it was yeah. I mean, it wasn't his best performance, of course. He's had a lot of good performances, but all it takes is just one. Yeah, I guess anyone can win on any given night, and I think that night was definitely Bilal's night.